All right, welcome to your deep dive. And today we've got sources on AI, the NBA, even a little crypto. But I think there are some surprising connections between real estate and tech that we're going to uncover.
I love that. I love how different, seemingly completely different areas intertwine. Always so interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like a treasure hunt a little bit. So let's start with Adobe's Firefly, this AI tool that can generate videos from text prompts. Sounds pretty sci-fi, huh?
Yeah, it does. But the tech behind it, it is impressive. It uses algorithms that have been trained on just massive amounts of licensed content, trying to avoid copyright issues, hopefully successfully.
That's what's causing a stir, right? I mean, even if it's licensed, using licensed content, there's still concerns about how this impacts artists and filmmakers.
Yeah, exactly. Critics are worried about just this flood of AI-generated content and the potential impact on jobs, on creativity. And some argue that even if the data is licensed, it still doesn't address like the ethical concerns, like fair compensation and attribution.
Yeah, especially like with major studios and Hollywood unions, they're pretty understandably concerned about AI replacing human work. So, I mean, is AI a tool? Is it a threat? What do you think?
Um, I know it's a complex question. I
Yeah.
mean, on one hand, it can empower smaller creators with tools that were previously inaccessible, like, independent filmmakers, game developers suddenly can create incredible things. But we also need to, of course, consider the implications for the existing industries, the existing workers. It's a real balancing act between fostering innovation and also protecting creative livelihoods.
For sure. Speaking of balancing acts, let's talk about how Apple's using AI in China, which is a market where they've been navigating tariffs, obviously looking for growth. They've partnered with Chinese tech giants like Alibaba and Baidu to integrate AI features.
And what's interesting is that Apple and even Qualcomm on the Android side, they've seen sales jump when they release these AI-powered features. It seems like consumers are ready for this.
Yeah.
Analyst Ben Reitzes, he's particularly optimistic about Apple's AI potential in China. He believes they have a lot of levers, actually this is a quote, a lot of levers to offset tariffs, um, bringing some component production in-house, focusing on the higher-priced iPhones, continuing to grow the services segment.
So AI is becoming like a key part of their strategy, not just for product innovation, but also for navigating global economics. It's like they're addressing multiple challenges at once.
Yeah, and I think this ties in nicely to the broader impact of AI on the tech industry as a whole. Deep Sea, for example, their advancements in AI have significantly lowered the cost of computing power. And what that's done is led to better margins for businesses like Apple services.
So cheaper computing means more resources for companies to develop even more innovative apps and features.
Precisely, yeah. And Apple, with its focus on privacy, they're well positioned to take advantage of this. They can develop new apps, services that are both powerful but also privacy conscious, which is becoming even more and more important in the age of AI.
Okay, but here's an interesting twist to this AI story. Michael Stone, CEO of StoneSpeak, points out a surprising bottleneck. It's access to land with enough power and permits. So it's not just about having the chips, it's about having the physical infrastructure to support AI development.
Yeah, it does sound kind of strange, right? But with the power shortages we're seeing in the U.S., having land with the necessary power and permits has become super valuable. I mean, Stone even called it a golden goose scenario.
Wow, so AI is inadvertently creating a real estate boom in specific areas with the right infrastructure. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears for a second. Let's talk about the NBA. CNBC recently ranked the most valuable NBA franchises, and the Golden State Warriors came out on top with a valuation of $9.4 billion. That's almost $2 billion more than the second place Knicks.
I mean, those numbers they are huge. But it is important to remember that these valuations aren't just about profit. They factor in revenue multiples and past transactions to give a more sort of holistic picture of the team's worth.
But still, the Warriors have seen a 24% annualized return since 2010, and the Grizzlies 19% since 2012. I mean, these are some pretty lucrative investments.
Absolutely. And, the driving force behind these soaring valuations is the massive increase in TV rights deals. The new deal, which kicks in next year, is going to jump from $2.7 billion to $6.9 billion annually.
Wow, that's a massive jump.
Yeah.
And a big chunk of the Warriors' success can be attributed to their fancy state-of-the-art arena and the sponsorship revenue it generates. They actually bring in almost twice the sponsorship revenue of any other NBA team.
Yeah, I mean, they've really mastered that business strategy, maximizing their revenue streams beyond just the traditional ticket sales and broadcasting deals.
But then it does make you wonder about teams like the Lakers, who are high on the list but rely on an outdated local TV deal, and they don't have as much control over their arena economics.
It really highlights the different, paths to success, even within a league that's experiencing this phenomenal growth. And let's not forget the NBA does face broader challenges, declining viewership, potential rule changes to address things like the dominance of three-pointers.
So are those headwinds enough to slow down this momentum?
It's definitely something to watch. However, the NBA's global appeal, especially with lucrative sponsorships for international tournaments, streaming components, all of this could help them weather any potential storms.
Yeah, their international reach might be a key advantage in navigating the future of sports entertainment. Okay, now for something completely different. Let's dip our toes into crypto for a second. Starting with GameStop. Sources say they're exploring crypto investments, including Bitcoin.
That's an interesting move, and it's still unclear if they'll actually, pull the trigger or not. It's very early stages. But there's a kind of funny anecdote about CEO Ryan Cohen meeting with Michael Saylor, who's obviously a big Bitcoin advocate.
Is that a sign that they're serious about crypto or just exploring their options?
I don't know. It's too early to say. But what we do know is that Saylor's not directly involved in GameStop's discussions about crypto at this point.
So maybe not a direct influence, but it shows that crypto is definitely catching the attention of companies outside the traditional finance world.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And speaking of crypto, Coinbase recently reported record-breaking revenue. And that was driven by a surge in trading activity.
Is that tied to the new administration's pro-crypto stance and maybe anticipation of friendlier regulations?
It's likely a big factor. Mizuho analyst Dan Dolev, he's particularly bullish on Coinbase's potential, especially if they list more altcoins. But he does have some concerns about their high fees, right, and the increased competition from traditional financial institutions that are now kind of jumping into the crypto space.
So a lot of potential, but also some hurdles to overcome.
Yeah, classic case of risk and reward, reflecting the volatility of the market.
Absolutely. All right, but before we jump to the next part of our deep dive, I want to switch gears again and take a closer look at TJX Companies, the parent company of TJ Maxx and Marshalls.
Now, this might seem like a completely different topic, but TJX has actually been an incredible performer in the stock market, consistently delivering these really impressive returns for investors.
It's like they've cracked the code for retail success.
In a way, they have. Their business model, focuses on offering brand name clothes and home goods at these discounted prices, and it's resonated with shoppers for decades.
It's the thrill of the hunt, right? Finding that perfect item at a fraction of the original price. I mean, who doesn't love a good bargain?
Exactly. And analysts praise TJX for, strong management team, robust financials, their ability to adapt to the challenges of the retail industry. I mean, they found a model that's remarkably resilient, even with all the disruption going on.
It makes you wonder if their success offers any insights into the future of retail.
Yeah, and it reminds us that, sometimes the simplest business models, those that just cater to these fundamental consumer needs, are the ones that can be the most enduring.
Okay, now for a story that is straight out of like a science fiction movie. Elon Musk made this surprise bid for OpenAI, the company behind the AI sensation ChatGPT.
Wait, hold on. Are we talking about the same Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla and SpaceX?
The very same. And get this, he offered a staggering $97.4 billion to buy the company.
Wow. That's an astronomical sum. What's the story here?
Well, Musk is actually a co-founder of OpenAI, right? And he's been critical of their shift to a for-profit model. His bid came with a condition. OpenAI had to return to its original non-profit mission, developing ethical AI.
So it's about more than just like a business acquisition for Musk. It's about his vision for the future of AI.
Exactly. He's concerned about the potential dangers of AI development that isn't checked, and wants to ensure that it benefits humanity and not just like corporate interests.
That's a noble goal, but it's important to note that his bid was rejected by OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman and the board.
So what happens next? Is this the end of the saga?
Not necessarily. There's an ongoing legal battle actually between Musk and OpenAI, and the outcome could have pretty significant implications for how AI is developed and governed in the future.
This is like a fascinating clash, right? A visionary entrepreneur and this powerful AI company.
And it really does raise these crucial questions about who gets to control, the development and deployment of these powerful AI systems.
It's a story worth following, for sure. Speaking of things worth paying attention to, let's talk about cybersecurity, a topic that's becoming more and more relevant in our digital world.
You're absolutely right. Cyber attacks are becoming much more sophisticated, more frequent, posing a significant threat to individuals, businesses, even governments.
It seems like every other day we hear about another data breach or like a ransomware attack.
Yeah, I mean it's a growing concern, and it's crucial that we understand the evolving tactics of these cyber criminals and what steps we can actually take to protect ourselves.
So what are some of the latest trends in cybercrime that we should be aware of?
One alarming trend is the rise of what they're calling pig butchering scams. It's a particularly cruel form of cybercrime where scammers will actually build trust with victims over an extended period before stealing their money, often through cryptocurrency investments.
Pig butchering, that sounds horrifying.
It is. It preys on people's emotions and trust. And according to Chainalysis, these scams accounted for a third of all crypto scam revenue in 2024.
That's a staggering amount, and it really highlights the importance of being vigilant and informed about these scams.
Another concerning trend is the increasing use of AI-powered tools by cybercriminals.
So the same technology that can be used to create amazing things can also be used for malicious purposes.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's the reality. Cybercriminals are leveraging AI to automate attacks, making them more efficient and much more difficult to defend against.
It seems like staying ahead of the curve in cybersecurity requires constant vigilance and adaptation.
Absolutely, we can't be complacent. We need to be proactive in protecting our data, our devices, both personally and, at an organizational level.
What are some like basic steps that people can take to improve their cybersecurity?
Well, using strong, unique passwords, being cautious about suspicious emails and links, and just keeping your software updated, those can make a huge difference.
It's basic digital hygiene, but it's often overlooked.
Yeah, it's like washing your hands. Simple habit that can prevent a lot of problems.
I like that. Okay, let's shift back to the business world for a second. Let's talk about the semiconductor industry. There have been some interesting developments, particularly with AMD's growth and Intel's struggles.
It's been a fascinating dynamic to watch. AMD has been making major strides, particularly in AI, data centers, and even the gaming market. Their strategy, focusing on innovation, strategic partnerships, delivering high-performance products, it's been paying off.
Yeah, their recent release of the MI350 series, their next-generation AI accelerator, has generated a lot of buzz.
It's seen as a potential game changer, and it positions them well to capitalize on this growing demand for AI processing power.
For sure. But the semiconductor industry is fiercely competitive, right? I mean, AMD faces challenges from rivals like NVIDIA, Intel, and emerging players as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's a constant race, to innovate, to stay ahead of the curve. And for Intel, it's been a challenging few years. They've been losing market share to AMD, struggling to keep pace with the rapid advancements in technology.
It's hard to believe that Intel, once the undisputed leader in the chip world, is now playing catch up.
It's a reminder that no company's dominance is guaranteed, especially in the fast-paced world of technology.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of technology and its ripple effects, I want to circle back to something we discussed earlier, the unexpected connection between AI, data centers, and real estate.
Yeah, it's one of those fascinating examples of how, seemingly unrelated sectors can become intertwined in these unexpected ways.
As AI applications become more prevalent, the demand for data centers to process all that data is skyrocketing.
Exactly. And building those data centers requires a lot more than just, the technology. You need land, and you need land with access to massive amounts of power and the necessary permits to build these sprawling facilities.
It's almost like a real estate gold rush, but instead of searching for gold, they're looking for gigawatts of electricity and the right zoning approvals.
It's a fascinating dynamic, and it highlights the unexpected challenges that can arise as technology evolves. What was once a niche real estate market has now become this hotbed of activity, driven by this insatiable demand for AI processing power.
It makes you wonder what other unexpected connections are waiting to be discovered, right?
There are undoubtedly countless hidden links and emerging trends just waiting to be uncovered. And that's part of what makes exploring these topics so exciting.
Welcome back to the deep dive. It's really interesting how all these stories we've been talking about, they all seem to connect somehow.
Yeah, like it really shows how interconnected our world is. Like one thing happening over here can have an impact on something completely different over there.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of unexpected connections, we were just talking about crypto, and now we're going to look at TJX companies, the parent company of TJ Maxx and Marshalls.
Might seem like a jump, but there's a fascinating story here. TJX has consistently delivered really impressive returns for investors. It really highlights how appealing their business model is.
Yeah, it's all about offering, brand name products, but at those discounted prices, right? I mean, they've tapped into that universal desire for a good deal.
Precisely. And analysts point to, several factors that contribute to their success. Strong management team, robust financials, but also their ability to navigate that ever-changing retail landscape.
Yeah, they've managed to stay relevant and profitable, in an industry that's seen a lot of disruption.
It's a testament to their adaptability and how they cater to those evolving consumer preferences. They've found a formula that works and they've executed it well.
All right, okay. Now, for a story that sounds like it came straight out of a science fiction movie, Elon Musk made a surprise bid for OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT.
You're kidding. What prompted that? I mean, what's going on there?
Well, Musk is actually a co-founder of OpenAI, right? And he's been pretty critical of their shift to a for-profit model. His bid came with a condition. OpenAI had to return to its original nonprofit mission of developing ethical AI.
So this is about more than just buying his company. This is about controlling the future of AI.
Yeah, exactly. He's really concerned about the potential dangers of AI development that's, unchecked and wants to ensure that it benefits humanity, not just corporate interests.
I mean, it's a bold move. It really shows how committed he is to shaping the future of AI.
But get this, it was rejected by OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman, and the board.
So what happens now? I mean, is that it? Is it over?
I don't think so. The story's not over. There's an ongoing legal battle between Musk and OpenAI, and the outcome could have pretty significant implications for how AI is developed and governed in the future.
This is like a real power struggle, right? I mean, it raises some really fundamental questions about who should control the trajectory of this powerful technology.
Yeah, definitely a story worth following. Okay, shifting gears a little bit to a topic that's becoming increasingly important, cybersecurity.
Yeah, and the stakes are getting higher all the time. Cyber attacks are more sophisticated, they're more frequent. I mean, it's a real threat to individuals, businesses, governments, everyone.
Yeah, it feels like, I don't know, every other day we're hearing about a data breach or like a ransomware attack.
It's a constant cat and mouse game. Cyber criminals develop new tactics as fast as security measures are, implemented to stop them.
So what are some of the latest trends in cybercrime, things that we should be aware of?
Well, one really alarming trend is the rise of what they're calling pig butchering scams. It's a really cruel, it's manipulative. Cyber criminals build trust with victims over a long period of time, sometimes months or even years, before they steal their money.
Pig butchering. God, that sounds terrible.
It is. It really preys on people's vulnerabilities, their desire for connection, and it often involves convincing victims to invest in these fraudulent cryptocurrency schemes. According to Chainalysis, these scams accounted for a third of all crypto scam revenue in 2024.
That's a crazy number. It really shows how important education and awareness about these types of scams is.
And another concerning trend is the increasing use of AI-powered tools by cybercriminals.
So the same technology that can be used for good can also be used for bad.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's the reality. Cybercriminals are using AI to automate attacks, making them much more efficient and harder to defend against.
So it sounds like staying ahead of the curve in cybersecurity means you've got to be vigilant and constantly adapting.
You've got to be proactive. We can't afford to be complacent. We have to be proactive about protecting our data, our devices, both personally and organizationally.
So what can people do? What are some basic steps to improve their cybersecurity?
Simple things like using strong, unique passwords, right? Being cautious about suspicious emails or links, and keeping your software updated can make a big difference.
Yeah, it's like basic digital hygiene, but it's easy to forget about.
Exactly. It's like washing your hands, Simple habit, but it can prevent a lot of problems.
I like that analogy. Okay, let's shift back to the business world for a minute and talk about the semiconductor industry. There have been some interesting developments, particularly with AMD's growth and Intel's recent struggles.
Yeah, it's fascinating to watch this play out. AMD has been making really impressive strides, particularly in AI and data centers, even the gaming market. Their strategy focusing on innovation, strategic partnerships, and delivering high-performance products is paying off.
Yeah, their recent release of the MI350 series, their next generation AI accelerator, it's generating a lot of buzz.
Yeah, a lot of people see it as a potential game changer, and it positions them really well to capitalize on this growing demand for AI processing power.
For sure. But the semiconductor industry is, I mean, it's really competitive, right? AMD faces challenges from established players like NVIDIA, Intel, and a lot of emerging players as well.
Oh yeah, it's a constant race to innovate, to stay ahead of the curve, and for Intel, it has been a tough couple of years. They've been losing market share to AMD and struggling to keep up with all the technological advancements.
It's kind of hard to believe that Intel, who was once the undisputed leader in the chip world, is now kind of playing catch up.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that no company's dominance is guaranteed, especially in the fast-paced world of tech.
For sure. Speaking of technology and its ripple effects, I wanna circle back to something we discussed earlier, the unexpected connection between AI, data centers, and real estate.
Yeah, it's a fascinating example of how, things that seem unrelated can actually become intertwined in these unexpected ways.
Yeah, as AI applications become more and more common, the demand for data centers to handle all of that data, it's skyrocketing.
Right. And building these data centers takes a lot more than just the technology itself. It requires land, and not just any land. It requires land that has access to huge amounts of power and all the permits that are necessary to build these really big facilities.
It's almost like a real estate gold rush, but instead of gold, what they're after is gigawatts of electricity and the right zoning approvals.
Yeah, it's a really interesting dynamic, and it shows the unexpected challenges that can pop up as technology evolves. What was once just a niche real estate market is now like a hotbed of activity, all because of this huge demand for AI processing power.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder what other surprising connections are out there just waiting to be discovered.
Oh, I'm sure there are tons of hidden links and emerging trends out there, and that's part of what makes all of this so exciting to explore.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive. It's amazing how much we've covered, from AL's creative potential to those unexpected ways that real estate is actually shaping the tech world.
It's been quite a journey, right? All this innovation and disruption, and then seeing those connections, it really makes you realize just how connected everything is.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up, what are like the key takeaways you're hoping our listener will walk away with?
Well, I think the biggest one is that, we are living in a time of just incredible technological change, right? AI especially it's transforming so many industries, so many parts of our lives.
Yeah, and it's not just about like, the cool gadgets and the futuristic applications. We've also talked about like the ethical side of things, potential job displacement, and the need for responsible development.
Exactly. We can't just embrace new technology without thinking about, what the consequences might be. We need to have those honest conversations about what AI means for better or worse.
Yeah, it's all about finding that balance, fostering innovation, but also protecting human values. And speaking of adaptive to change, we saw how companies like Apple are using AI not just for like new products, but also to deal with those global economic challenges.
That's a great point. Adaptability is like more important than ever, whether it's, tariffs or finding new revenue streams or just keeping up with the latest tech. The ability to evolve and stay ahead is essential.
Absolutely. And then there's the story of TJX companies, right? Proving that sometimes, the simplest business models, the ones that just cater to what people really want, those are the ones that last.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that amidst all the hype about the latest and greatest, there's still a place for those classic strategies that are well executed.
For sure. And we can't forget that whole Elon Musk and OpenAI saga, right? It's like a real life drama about the future of AI and who gets to control it.
Fascinating story. It highlights those power dynamics in the tech world and those ethical questions about, developing something so powerful.
Definitely a story that'll keep unfolding. And speaking of stories that are just beginning, we talk about crypto, right? The potential, the risks, and how companies like GameStop and Coinbase are navigating that whole world.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's unpredictable. It'll be interesting to see how crypto develops and what its role in the financial system will ultimately be.
Yeah, absolutely. But along with the exciting possibilities, there are also new threats. We talked about cybercrime and those increasingly sophisticated ways that criminals are exploiting our digital world.
It's a reminder that as technology gets more advanced, so do the methods of those who want to misuse it. We have to be careful and proactive about protecting ourselves.
So, I mean, in this age of rapid change, there's so much to be excited about, but also a lot to be cautious of.
I think that's a great way to put it. Opportunity and responsibility. We need to be informed, we need to be engaged, and we need to have those tough conversations about the tech we're creating.
And that's exactly what we're trying to do here on the deep dive, right? We want to give you the knowledge, the insights to help you navigate this complex and ever-changing world.
Knowledge is power, and by understanding what's happening, we can make better decisions and hopefully contribute to a better future.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a final thought. In a world where AI is evolving so rapidly, how will industries like entertainment and finance adapt? And what role will they play in shaping the future?
The big question, no easy answers, but it's a question worth thinking about. We hope you'll keep the conversation going, share your thoughts and really engage with these ideas.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll be back soon with another exploration of the trends that are shaping our world. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring.